Great South Arkansas welcome to the President of the United States, George W. Bush.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Thank you, Skinny. Guys, thanks for the warm welcome. It's great to be here. Huckabee told me I'm the first sitting president ever to come to El Dorado, Arkansas. I'm glad I came. I'm really glad I came. Governor, thank you, and Janet, for meeting me at the airport. It's great to see you again. Thank you all for being here. I really want to thank Kathy and her staff for putting up with us. Turns out it's not easy to welcome a president. You got to have a stage, you got to have this, you got to have that. The entourages are huge. We're really glad to be here because this is going to be an economics lesson coupled with a discussion about how to make sure everybody is educated for the jobs for the 21st century. That's what we're here to talk about. I think you're going to find it interesting. The best news is I'm not doing all the talking. I've got some of your fellow citizens here on stage with me that will help make the points necessary. Make the points that say, look, this is a hopeful time. We just got to make sure we educate people for the jobs which will exist. That's what we're here talking about. Community college is a great place to have this discussion because the community colleges are very well adapted to meeting the needs of local employers. They're flexible. They're able to say to an employer, what do you need? And we'll educate the people for the kind of workers you need. That's why we're here at this community college. Thanks for receiving me. Lieutenant Governor Rockefeller is with us. Wynn, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Congressman John Bozeman, he's up from North Arkansas. He's down here in South Arkansas. Thank you for coming, John. Glad you're here. Kathy's with him too. I appreciate the mayor, Bobby Baird. Where are you, Bobby? Yeah, Bobby. Bobby, you think you get a better seat? I appreciate you. Just pick up the garbage. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the hospitality. I appreciate your troopers out there. The city police helping us come into town. Thanks a lot. I want to thank all the local officials here from El Dorado here with us as well, and the county officials. And I appreciate the fact that you've allowed Lane Jean, who's the mayor of Magnolia, to be here. Mr. Mayor, appreciate you coming over from Magnolia. When I landed out there, I met a fellow named Joe McFadden. Joe brought his family. Where are you, Joe? Oh, there's Joe right here, yeah. Same guy I met at the airport. Here's the reason I want to talk about Joe right quick. People say America is strong because of our military. And we have a strong military, and I'm going to keep the military strong. Yeah. Well, people say we're strong because we're the most prosperous nation in the world, and that's positive. We want to keep it that way. We're strong, however, because of people like Joe. See, we're strong because of the hearts and souls of our citizens. That's really our strength. Yeah. The strongest part about this country is the fact that we have people who are willing to volunteer time to make the community in which they live a better place. See, Joe's involved with Main Street El Dorado. It's a way to make sure downtown El Dorado, Arkansas has been revitalized, which is good for the community. He's also involved with the Boy Scouts. That's a wonderful program. It's a good way to pass on values from one generation to the next. Joe is a soldier in the Army of Compassion. That's what he is. My call to our fellow citizens is, serve your country by loving a neighbor just like you'd like to be loved yourself. Help feed the hungry. Help find shelter for the homeless. Help a child learn to read. Find somebody who is lonely and surround them with love. See, government can hand out money, it can dispense justice, but government can't cause people to love. Love happens. when you get inspired in your hearts, my call is to serve like Joe. I appreciate you, Joe. Thank you for setting such a good example. First, I want to tell you, you're looking at an optimistic fella for a lot of reasons. I have seen what our country has come through, and we're strong, stronger than ever. The economy is growing, but let me remind you right quick what we have come through, which makes the statement the economy is growing even more profound. We went through a recession. That's a hard time for a lot of people. That means the country is going backwards in the economy. In other words, we're not growing. And if you're somebody who's looking for work during a recession, it's hard to find a job. If you're a small business during a recession, your future is doubtful. It's cloudy. Things don't look so good. We passed tax relief, which made this recession the shallowest, one of the shallowest in economic history, as we started to grow. Just as we started to grow, the enemy hit us. And that hurt in a lot of ways. It hurt our economy. We lost nearly 1 million jobs in the 3 months after the enemy attack. Just remember, during this attack, we shut down the airlines. The stock markets closed down for a while. In other words, it hurt our economy. It also changed our outlook. When I was coming up in Midland, Texas, I want you to know, there you go, which is where Laura is today, helping her mom move. She sends her love. But we thought oceans could protect us from harm's way. And therefore, if you think an ocean can protect you from harm's way and you see a threat somewhere else, you can decide to deal with it or not. You're pretty well assured that you'd be safe here at home. But they hit us. And it changed the way government must think about threats. Can't take them for granted anymore. I vowed that day that we would bring justice to the killers. We have been on the offense since that day. We'll stay on the offense until those who have done us harm are brought to justice. It was a challenge we had to overcome. First we had to overcome a recession, then we had to overcome an attack on our country, and this is we started coming out of that period. And we came out, by the way, because America refused to be intimidated. See, one of the greatest things about this country is the spirit of the Americans. You just heard me talk about the compassion. We've also got great spirit in this country. We are determined, strong people. Just as we started coming out of that, it turned out that some of our citizens forgot what it meant to be responsible citizens. You know what I'm talking about, those who didn't tell the truth to their shareholders and their employees. We passed tough laws. Democrats and Republicans came together in Washington, D.C. and sent a very clear message. We're not going to tolerate dishonesty in the boardrooms of America. We'll hold people to account for not telling the truth. However, that affected us. It shook our confidence when you think about it. When you think people are lying about their numbers, it affects the confidence. We're regaining that confidence because you're seeing what's happening to people who didn't tell the truth. One good way to clean up the boardrooms is to send some of those who betrayed the trust, bring them to justice, the best way to put it. And then, as I told you, September the 11th changed our calculation. Let me put it to you this way. When we see a gathering threat, we must deal with it before it materializes, is the best way to put it. Threats are dealt in different ways, by the way. Not every threat is dealt with the way I decided to deal with the threat in Iraq. We looked at the intelligence in Iraq and saw a threat. The United States Congress, people in both political parties, looked at the same intelligence and came to the same conclusion. They saw a threat. The United Nations Security Council looked at that intelligence. And once again, it saw a threat. So you might remember I went to New York and gave a speech in front of the UN Security Council and said, for 12 or 11 years you have said this man's a threat. Let's make your words mean something. If he's a threat, let's give him a chance to disarm one more time and get rid of his weapons programs. As you might recall, he chose defiance. So I was in a dilemma. I had a choice to make. Do I trust the word of a madman, a tyrant, somebody who had used weapons of mass destruction on his own people and on countries within his neighborhood? Or do I remember the lessons of September the 11th and defend America? Given the choice between a madman and defending the country, I will defend America every time. Bob was telling me Brian Macon's here. Where's Brian? Somewhere. Brian, thanks. You just got back from Iraq?
My dad is.
Well, that's okay. Hi, Dad. Thank you. Appreciate your service. Mr. Macon. Colonel Macon. What are you?
Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major.
Colonel now, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you for your service. Thank you for helping make America more secure. We got tough work there because you see there are terrorists there who'd rather kill innocent people than allow for the advance of freedom. That's what you're seeing going on. These people hate freedom. And we love freedom, and that's where the clash occurs. See, we don't think freedom is America's gift to the world. We know that freedom is the Almighty's gift to every man and woman in this world. Madden will tell you there's a lot of brave people there that want to be free, but they've been tortured and terrorized and traumatized by a tyrant, and it's going to take a while for them to understand what freedom is all about. We will pass sovereignty on June 30th. We will stay the course in Iraq. We're not going to be intimidated by thugs or assassins. We're not going to cut and run from the people who long for freedom, because you know what? We understand a free Iraq is an historic opportunity to help change the world to be more peaceful. That's what we understand in this country. I want to appreciate your service. For those of you who've got relatives in the armed forces, email them and tell them the Commander-in-Chief is incredibly proud of the sacrifice and service to our country. Laura reminded me that one time on the TV screens in the summer of 2000, we saw March to War. It is hard to have economic vitality when you're marching to war. It's a negative thought. It's about as negative a thought as you can think about. And so one of the hurdles we had to overcome, besides recession, attack, corporate scandal, was the fact that I made the decision to defend us. We marched to war. It was a challenge we had to overcome. I mean, if you're somebody going to invest capital, in other words, if somebody's trying to expand your business, you're going to probably hesitate if we're marching to war. If you're somebody looking for work, it's going to be harder to find work when the country's thinking about we're going to war. We're now marching to peace. That's what we're doing. We've overcome that hurdle. I say we've overcome these four things. I just want to remind you of the statistics. Economic growth in the second half of 2003 was very strong. Manufacturing activity is up. One of the statistics I love to quote is that home ownership rates are the highest in our nation's history. More people own their home in America. I'm particularly proud of the fact that more minority families own their home now. And that's an important statistic. We want more people owning something in America. The more people own something, the more they have a vital stake in the future of this country. We want there to be a vibrant ownership society all throughout our country. Recently we saw that we added 308,000 new jobs for the month of March. That's a positive sign. Plus 750,000 jobs since last August. This economy is strong, and it is getting stronger. And I intend to keep it that way through good policy. Let me talk real quick about a couple of things we need to do to make sure that people can find work here at home. First, we got to make sure that we're confident in trade policy. There's economic isolationists that want to wall us off from the rest of the world. I don't think that makes any sense. You're about to hear from a man who sells product overseas. And if he's selling product overseas, it means somebody's working. That's what that means. And see, presidents before me, of both parties, said, let's open up our markets for the good of the consumers. See, the more choice you have in Arkansas, the more likely is you're going to get something you want at a better price. And the problem is other countries haven't treated us the same. That's the problem. And so my job is to say to other countries, if we're going to open up our markets for your products, you open up yours for us. Because we're the best at what we do. We're great farmers, we're great ranchers, we're great timber people, we're great entrepreneurs and manufacturers. Give us a level playing field and we can compete with anybody, anytime, anywhere. That's my attitude. Secondly, we need good tort laws. You cannot run and expand your business. You can't find work here if people get sued all the time. We got too many giant lawsuits. We got to worry about the cost of medical care. If you're somebody hiring somebody, if you're a small business owner, the cost of medical care makes it awfully difficult to put people on the payroll. And therefore we need association health care plans that allow small businesses to pool their resources, pool risk, just like big businesses get to do. So health care is more affordable for the small business sector. We need to expand health savings accounts. It's a new product. I'm telling you, it's going to make a big difference in controlling costs. We need medical liability reform at the federal level. See, docs are getting sued too often, and they're leaving these small communities and rural communities in America, which means you don't have health care. You don't have access to a doc. Plus, those who are hanging around are having to practice what's called defensive medicine, which is running up the cost. Cost of health care is tough to expand the job base. If we want jobs to stay at home, and if we want the job base to expand, we got to do something about the cost of health care. We need an energy plan in this country. I'm telling you, it's hard to expand our job base. It's hard to keep jobs here at home if you're worried about the reliability of electricity and if you're worried about finding natural gas at reasonable price. I put out a plan to the United States Congress a while ago. I think a while ago means a couple of years ago, by the way. Sometimes progress is slow. It said, let's make the electricity systems reliable. See, if you're a manufacturer and you're wondering whether or not you're going to have electricity the next day, if that worry is in your mind, it's hard to expand your business. Let's make sure we utilize coal in America. Clean coal technology is important. Let's make sure we explore for natural gas here within our territories. Let's encourage conservation. Let's be smart about technology. But for the sake of jobs and job expansion, we must become less dependent on foreign sources of energy. You probably wonder if anybody else is going to say a word. Thankfully, Laura's not here. She'd be going. One of the reasons why we grew is because of tax relief. And a lot of that tax relief is set to expire this year. The child credit's going down, which means if you got a child, you're fixing to pay more taxes. It's a bad time to be raising taxes. The marriage penalty is going back up. See, one of the things we did in working with the Congress is reduce the effects of the marriage penalty. I don't quite get a tax system that discourages marriage by taxing it. It just doesn't make any sense. We ought to be encouraging marriage in America, not discouraging it. I insisted on the tax relief. We cut the rates on everybody who pays taxes. Some of them howled up in Washington when I did that. See, my attitude is government ought not to play favorites in the tax. You don't pay taxes, but you do. My attitude was if everybody who pays taxes ought to get relief if we're going to have relief. It also had this effect. You see, most small businesses in America are sole proprietorships or subchapter S corporations. That means they pay tax at the individual income tax. If you're worried about jobs, see, when I hear people looking for work and they can't find jobs, I say, I worry about it. Then what you want to do is stimulate small business growth because 70% of the new jobs in America are created by small businesses. And when you cut the individual income tax rates, you're affecting small businesses in a significant way. You give more money in the pockets of the small business owners, which makes it more likely they're going to hire somebody. So by cutting individual income tax rates, we send a message loud and clear that small businesses matter in America. Small businesses are the primary job creators in this country. We want there to be a small business sector which is really strong. Congress needs to make all the tax cuts we pass permanent in order to make sure this economic recovery lasts. I told you we're creating new jobs. Let me tell you something really interesting about Arkansas. And this is going to get us to the discussion, I promise you. Jobs in computer and math-related fields are expected to rise by nearly 60% by the year 2010 in the state of Arkansas. Healthcare and technical jobs are expected to rise by nearly 40%. That's an interesting statistic I want people to focus on right quick. In other words, there's going to be jobs. The question is, are people going to be prepared to fill those jobs? That's really what we're here to talk about today. There's jobs. It's just some people are used to working in different kind of fields. And there's ways to get retrained for the jobs. That's what we're going to talk about here in a second. Before we do, I want you to know I fully understand that we got to get it right at early grades. The No Child Left Behind Act is a really good piece of law for this reason. It finally asks the question whether or not our children are learning to read, write, and add and subtract early. That's what it's asking. Doesn't seem too much to ask, does it, for increased federal spending? You know, it's an important question to ask. If you don't ask, you don't find out. We better find out now before it's too late. This business about shuffling kids through the system is going to end, as far as I'm concerned. You know who's easy to shuffle? Inner city black kids. That's who's easy to shuffle. It's easy to quit on them. Walk into a classroom, see a bunch of these so-called hard to educate. Let's just shuffle them through. That's not fair. It's easy to quit on families who don't speak English as a first language. These are too hard to educate. Best thing we got to do here is just move them through. That's not going to work. It's not American. You see, I believe every child can learn. I believe every child has got it in them to learn, and we must raise the standard. The reason you have an accountability system is to test whether what you're doing is working. The reason you have an accountability system is to solve problems early before it's too late. Part of the No Child Left Behind Act says when we find a child who's fallen behind early, there's extra help, extra money, extra ability to make sure kids get caught up. That's a vital part of making sure that our children have the skills necessary to fill the jobs of the 21st century. We need to do more. See, I think high schools need to have the bar raised. I think all high schools ought to be participating in what's called the NAEP. The NAEP is a national norming test. It's not a national test. It says they take the Arkansas test and they compare them to other states to determine whether or not standards are being met. That's all it is. You need to know. Your governor needs to know. The citizens need to know how you stack up relative to other places if you expect to educate children for the jobs of the 21st century. If you want Kathy not to have to re-educate people, you better get it right early. That's what I'm saying. We recognize that some of the kids haven't had the advantage of accountability early, and so they've been shuffling through. So I put out an initiative called the Striving Readers Initiative, which is a competitive grant program that'll help intervention with 8th and 9th and 10th grade kids now. In other words, we've got some kids, one of the things that's important for those of us in positions of responsibility, you got to be just flat honest about things. We got kids who can't read, see, and they're moving through. And we got to stop it. And we got to solve the problem. And so this initiative I've sent up to Congress provides $100 million for competitive grants so that this school district here, if you need it, can access the money to have strong intervention programs. We've got a mathematics and science partnership program. One of the problems we got, you heard me describe the kinds of jobs that will be available in Arkansas by 2010. You better make sure your math programs and science programs work. See, a new skill set is necessary to fill the new jobs. And therefore, we put out a program, a math and science partnership program, which will help teachers with curriculum, but also provide extra help for kids, just to make sure they don't get shuffled through. I mean, literacy is more than just being able to read. There's math literacy as well that we want to affect. We've got an adjunct teacher program that's an important way to help recruit professionals into the classroom to teach math. If you got yourself a retired NASA employee in your neighborhood? Seems like to me you want to be able to have that person go into the classrooms and teach science or math. One of the things the superintendent may tell you here, I know I've heard it from other superintendents, is that we've got a shortage of math teachers and science teachers. This is a practical way, Governor, to get people into the classrooms, to make sure that kids have got the skills necessary to be employable in the 21st century. Perhaps you've heard of the Carl D. Perkins Act, which is a vocational training program. We spend about $1 billion a year for vocational training, and that's good. The program was written in 1917. I don't know if they understood what was going to be taking place in the year 2004. I suspect they didn't. I suspect they would be shocked to hear us talk about the skill level necessary to fill the jobs of the 21st century. My attitude is that this vocational training program ought to go forth, but it ought to make sure that the kids learn to speak English, and that there's algebra, and there's a science and social science component. In other words, when kids are coming out of a vocational training program, they're going to need to do more than just what's taught at the vocational training level. They're going to need to be able to think. And we can't let kids go through without raising the standards and raising the bar. So I'm going to ask Congress to reform the Perkins vocational program. It's not to cut back on the money, it's quite the contrary. It's to make sure the money we are spending prepares these youngsters for the jobs of the 21st century. I got some other ideas I want to share with you right quick, then I promise you. One of the challenges is to continue to raise standards, to raise that bar. A great way to do so is to expand advanced placement programs all across America. I've got a federal program that does just that. It says we're going to train more teachers on how to teach AP. Let me tell you one of the problems with advanced placement. You got a kid going through AP, and they go home and say, I need my money to take the test. And if you're low income, that money means a lot to you. We need to help low income students take the advanced placement test by paying for the entrance exam. That's got to help you attract people to the AP program. Advanced placement means you're taking college level type courses in high school. It means we're preparing people for the jobs of the 21st century. We got a state scholars program here in Arkansas. We're going to hear right there is the leading evangelist for the state scholar program. We'll talk about it. It's a rigorous academic program. In other words, it's one thing to intervene and make sure kids don't get left behind. It's another thing to keep raising those standards, raising the bars. What I want to do is enhance the Pell Grants. It says if you take the state scholars program in Arkansas, you get more money for your Pell Grant. Provides incentive. It says for rigorous academics, we want to help you more with a Pell Grant. It means you get to go to college, get help. But it says to the kid, let's take math and science is what it takes. You're going to hear what it means in a minute. The other thing I want to do is to make we set up a presidential math and science scholars fund. $50 million of federal money matched by $50 million in the private sector. We'll be able to raise that. That says that when you go to college, we'll enhance your Pell Grant if you continue to take math and science programs. See, we want people to be prepared for the 21st century. That's what we want. We want to keep raising that bar. We want to make sure nobody gets left behind, but at the same time, we want to provide proper incentives so people can have hope in this country. That's what we're talking about. Listen, the jobs will be there. We're going to stay on the edge of technological change. We just got to make sure people are prepared for the jobs. You're about to hear two interesting stories about people who made some decisions in their life. The final thing I want to mention to you in conjunction with these two stories is that there's a lot of people that need help now that have been out of school for a while. And that's where the community colleges come in. Yesterday I gave a speech at a community college in North Carolina before I went over and unleashed my fastball in St. Louis. And I talked about a direct grant program to help collaborative efforts between community colleges and job providers. That's the way you make sure people are trained for jobs which exist. I talked about reforming the Workforce Investment Act so it actually functions by getting more people trained for the jobs. But the community college system is really an important part of our future, and that's why we're here. And so I want to first start off with Kathy. I want her to describe to you some of the programs that she's doing here. I think you'll find interesting in the nursing program, for example. Kathy, thanks for having me. Why don't you inform the good folks about this great asset they have in their community?
President Bush, we are delighted to have you and host you at the finest community college in the United States. I'm going to tell you about our community college and why it's so outstanding and unique. But I also want to tell you something because we have some common roots.
Okay.
And I want you to know that you're going to feel very much at home in South Arkansas. And this is the reason why. We are a land of natural resources. We have petroleum, we have chemical industries, we have timber, so we have a lot of jobs. We're very lucky. But our greatest resource is our people, a very friendly people. Sound like home?
Sure does. It's a Texan speaking.
We don't
Farmer
brag.
Texan. Farmer Texan.
This is the finest example of a comprehensive community college. It's unique in the fact that it was two colleges. You're sitting on what used to be a branch of the university, Southern Arkansas University. However, we're in a gym that was built in 1940, WPA, next to a 1905 junior college building. You don't find that on many community college campuses, soon to celebrate our centennial. This land has been used for education since 1848, when the good people of El Dorado decided we need to educate our females. Since 1848, that shows the commitment to excellence in education locally. On the other side of town, we have a technical college. This was to serve the needs of business and industry, to prepare the workforce and to train those in the workforce. In the early 90s, they merged the two colleges, which meant we have the most outstanding attributes that employers can ask for. We have the technical skills that they need in their workers, and we also have this outstanding academic core, because what we hear from employers, like Bob Hogan here at Amercable, is, I don't want just the technical skills. Our product's going to change, our company's going to change, the technology's going to change. The people I hire better be able to read and to write, have good communication skills, problem solve, and know some math. And then they can adapt. And that's what we do here. And we're very proud of that fact.
Tell me about your nursing program.
I'm very proud of that. Can I have some folks stand up?
Yeah, I see a few of
Could
them.
our allied health
When did you start it?
Actually, the nursing program's been here longer than the college.
Okay.
Because there was a need in this community. We have 3 nursing programs that run a daytime, an evening weekend, and one at our site in Warren. And those students are here too. We soon will be starting a registered nursing program as a consortium to serve community colleges that are in rural areas in the state of Arkansas. We're very proud. We have 6 different allied health programs. And the reason we have this is we're the regional medical center as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
See, what you hear around our country a lot is that there are regional health centers that are looking for workers. That's what you're hearing. Industry, this economy changes. We're in a time of transition. That's what you're hearing. You get productivity increases. That means people need to be, in some cases, re-educated for the jobs which exist. A more productive worker makes more money. One of my favorite stories I tell is I met this lady in Mesa Community College in Phoenix, Arizona. She was a graphic design artist, and she went back to the community college. Now, that's not easy to do. I'm about to meet a fellow who's done this, by the way. It's not easy for some to go back to community college. A lot of people say, gosh, I can't go back to school. Too old, or, not interested. She went back. She got help by the government. She went back, and in her entry-level job, in her new job, having taken a technical course at Mesa Community College, she got out. She made more in her first year than she did in her 15th year as a graphic artist. In other words, if you gain new skills and become more productive, you're going to make more money. And so when you hear people talk about productivity, it really means new skill levels. And productivity is good for America. When you're a more productive country, your standard of living goes up. People make more money. And we got to make sure people have got the skills to be more productive. And that's what we're talking about here. When you work in the healthcare field, you're learning new skills that make you productive. So you're employable for the jobs which actually exist. Bob Hogan knows something about employing people. That's what he does. He's the CEO of AmeriCable, right here. We're glad you're here. Tell us about your company.
Participate today. It's an honor for our company to be up here and to be represented. AmeriCable is the leading producer of specialized, rigorous electrical power cables that are used in the mining industry, in the offshore drilling industry, and in automotive robotics. So we are very much in favor of a new energy policy because the people that are working in our company are dependent upon a strong energy industry, and that's where those jobs come from. In this past year, our companies, our customers sell to the world. We sold more than 30% of our products overseas last year to more than 30 countries.
Yeah, let me stop right there. Hear what he said? This company right here in El Dorado, Arkansas, that employs
about 220 people.
Right. 30% of their sales. I don't think you can say 30% of the workforce depends, but you can say a significant part of the workforce depends on his ability to sell overseas. If we become economic isolationists, he's not going to be able to sell overseas. See, that's the problem with trade wars and bad trade policy. Sorry for interrupting.
You can do that anytime.
Okay. My kind of guy.
That and the great thing about that is all that product is made right here in El Dorado, Arkansas, USA.
Yeah.
And the people that are making that product, the guys that are maintaining the equipment, the people who are planning the production processes, our engineers who design our cable, those are folks that are from this area. A lot of them have been educated in the El Dorado school system. They've been educated through Kathy's programs here at South Ark Community College. And we've got the best people in the industry. And it's just a tremendous honor to be able to serve them.
Tell me about your program with your community college here.
Well, what I would classify it in kind of two phases. One is in selection and then two in development. And in the selection side of that, as Kathy was talking earlier, what we're looking for are people, one that first off, which is a given to us, is that they have to have strong values. And the processes that go on in Kathy's programs start to build those values. That's just paramount. After that, we basically, what we're looking for is we're hiring for attitude and we're going to train for skill. And we want people who have a strong, I guess a higher than average self-motivation level, that they want to be able to do something. They have a can-do attitude, and they want to be the best at what they're doing. And the programs that we've put people through here at South Ark, whether it's statistical process control programs, operations research programs, those are the kinds of things that apply to what we're doing today, and those are the kind of things that are applying to what we're going to be doing going forward. And you know, it's our obligation as an employer to give our people the tools, the resources, the training, so that they can do the best job.
You have them with tuition here?
We have a tuition reimbursement program for our people.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. If you're out there wondering whether or not you can find work and whether or not you have the skills necessary to find a job, there's help. Sometimes through your employer, sometimes through the Pell Grant program. There's ways to find work. It's just up to you. Government can't say to somebody, you know, be motivated. It's not the proper. We can't say love somebody. We can't say be motivated. It's up to you. But we can say we want to help you if you are motivated. And I want to appreciate you very much, Bob, for being a responsible CEO, somebody who understands that you got to take care of your workers and you got to make sure they're trained. I appreciate you coming. Thanks. You ready to go? Okay, we're lucky enough that Juanita Vines has joined us. She got a very interesting story. First, I want to congratulate her on being her valedictorian of her high school class. I'm not going to ask her how long ago it was, but...
It wasn't that
No, it wasn't that long ago. I know, but it wasn't yesterday either.
Thank you, Mr.
Tell me
President.
about yourself.
Well, actually, it's interesting that you mentioned the advanced placement earlier, because I'm actually not from Arkansas. I moved here from Ohio the summer before my junior year in high school. And when I moved from a school that had 150 people in my class to a school, Northlet, that had 40 people in my class, it was a very big difference. And I found once I moved there that they did not offer some of the advanced placement classes that I was planning on taking. So it kind of put a kink in my schedule and threw everything around. I didn't know what to do. The guidance counselors were very cooperative, and they encouraged me to take challenging curriculum to prepare myself to go to college.
Yeah, that's good. And so what happened?
And so
You got into several colleges.
I had offers to several colleges, but decided to stay here. My mother has some health problems, and I didn't want to leave.
Just listen to this story for starters. A daughter taking care of her mom, that's part of life. It's really, this woman's got her priorities straight. Family, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. I didn't want to move away. I wanted to stay close to home and help her, just be here just in case anything happened. But she's healthy. She's here
Where is
today.
she? She out there? Hey, Mom. She's doing great, isn't she? Yeah. You raised a good woman. Thanks for coming.
So I started attending the community college. I have been here through the valedictorian salutatory scholarship the college has awarded me. But I probably could not attend college if it weren't for the federal Pell Grant that I received.
She's getting help. See, if you want to go to a community college, you can find help. It's available.
Yes, sir. So due to those funds that I have received, I graduated from the practical nursing program here at South Ark last December with highest honors. And I am currently employed at the Medical Center of South Arkansas here in El Dorado. And I'm still attending classes full-time, working towards my Bachelor's of Science and my ultimate goal of my Master's of Science.
Yeah, let me ask you something. There's a reason why you're doing that besides Mom probably telling you. I'm still listening to my mom, too. Well, most of the time. Do you make more money if you get a bachelor's? I mean, is there a master's? Is there
Yes,
an
sir,
economic incentive? This is a leading question.
It's like this: the more letters you get behind your name, the more money you have.
Actually, you might want to phrase it a little differently. The more skills you learn.
The more skills you learn.
There you go.
The more educated you become.
Yeah.
The more money you can make.
Here is a valedictorian in her class who's come to this community college, who's on her way to greater things, and I want to thank you for your motivation. Really good job.
Thank you.
Superintendent of Schools, Big Bob Watson's here. They ever call you Big Bob?
Yes, sir, and Governor, President.
Yeah. How quickly they forget.
You've been welcomed, and I think properly so, but I like to do things in a big way, so I'm going to shake hands with you so you truly will have had a big welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just don't hug me. Yeah. Thank you, sir. He's the superintendent of schools, in case you don't know it.
Go ahead.
Please, go ahead. No, I was going to say, tell us what you've done.
Let me say to you that as a community, we are excited about what we can bring to the table in preparing young people for the working world. Our relationship with the college, as we articulate agreements with them to train people for the working force that's out there. I think we have to look at the total child and the total picture. You've heard concerns expressed here on this forum today that we have to provide for all of our children, those who want to take advanced placement classes, the training that's being made available at the federal level and at the state level. We take a great deal of pride in the El Dorado system about having those courses available and the selection and the opportunity that we create for young people. We also take a great deal of pride about the fact that we're a part of High Schools at Work. It not only says our courses are going to take the core curriculum, they're going to take those 4 Englishes, those 4 maths in just a few years in the state of Arkansas, and those 3 sciences, but they're going to be rigorous courses. We are assessed and evaluated about what we teach in the classroom, how we do it, whether we're raising the standard. I think those things are important. Our articulation agreements with the college, we're saying we're going to send you our young people, we're going to send you the best we've got, and we want a level of rigor there. It's not only important that what they do in the academic classroom, but it's important what they do in that classroom. We talk about workforce, that reading skills be there, that math skills be there, communication skills be there, that those things are taught, they're reinforced, and that's the move of High Schools at Work as we make an effort in this district, and I think as a county we're moving more in that direction. So we appreciate you bringing attention to that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. Tell me about the program with the community college. I think it's an interesting opportunity for high school kids to, in a way, take an advanced placement type program. I mean, it's certainly it's certainly elevating the standards.
Right. We have a secondary career center that we work with the college in terms of sending our young people from all of the schools in the county here for training in workforce, concurrent credit, in terms of opportunity. There's plenty of opportunity for young people who want to get an education, and you've talked about them being motivated. Those articulation agreements, we share expenses with the college. We share personnel with the college. We're heavily involved in training through the college, and we appreciate their
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks. Appreciate it. You know that the Secretary of Education was the superintendent of schools, too. I decided to put somebody in a position of responsibility that actually done it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay, Tony Johnson's with us. Tony, it's like this is a really interesting story. Have you ever been in the military, Tony?
Yes, sir, I have. I served 4 years in the Air Force and 4 years in the Army, achieving the rank of sergeant in both.
I appreciate that. You are... All right, let her rip. Tell us about it.
Actually, it took me 21 years to get to South Ark.
So you go to school here?
Yes, sir.
You're a student?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm the president of the Honor Society here. But it didn't, thank you, didn't start out that way.
I know what you mean.
When I was 17, I was told by a couple of teachers to give up on the idea of going to college.
Yeah, let me stop right there. This guy's a 17-year-old kid, and somebody told him not to go to college. That is the soft bigotry of low expectations. It's precisely the opposite of what we're talking about here. Let her go.
After I was told that, I more or less just gave up on the thought of going. The day after I graduated high school, I entered the Air Force. I served my 4 years and worked a couple of jobs here in town, then enlisted into the Army. I had to take an early discharge from there because of family medical reasons, and worked between plant work and spent many a 10-hour day on the wrong end of a shovel. And till finally a back injury kind of ended it all. Doctor told me I had to change careers because I could no longer do the type of work I was doing. And luckily, I met my wife, who's here today.
Where is she? There you go. Welcome.
She convinced me to give college a try. So I applied for a Pell Grant in 2002, enrolled at South Ark. And right now I have a 3.97 grade point
There you
average.
go. This is the guy that shouldn't have gone to college. You're doing good. This is a guy who's not even supposed to be here, right? He was told he can't come here. He's now head of the Honor Society, got a Pell Grant. There's a lot of people wondering whether or not they can go back to school. A lot of people saying, well, gosh, my skills aren't what is needed, and they're not high enough to get a good job there, but I don't want to go back to school. There's nobody my age will be there. Nobody, here's a living example of a guy who's decided to improve himself. What are you going to do with your degree, your honors degree, I might add?
Well, that was a self-esteem booster right there in itself. It showed that I could actually do the work. I know that my income will double over what I was making before.
Yeah.
And
so it's a lot easier to be smart and use your skills that you learn at a community college. You make a lot more money, more productive. That's what that means. But tell me, do you have any dreams? Because guess what? Somebody's probably listening now to the story that might actually make the salary triple if we're lucky.
Well, as soon as I finish my associates, I plan on going to get my bachelor's. I hope to one day teach.
Fantastic. Great story. That's good. I'll tell you one thing. When you teach, you're never going to look at anybody and say, you can't go to college. You'll be the guy saying you can do anything you want. I appreciate you. Thanks, Tony. It's a great story.
I would just like to say to educators and future educators that it only takes one phrase to make or break a kid. And I'm living proof.
You know something, Tony? It didn't break you, brother. It didn't break you. It just delayed you.
I attribute that to
and that's
the
what
Army.
people have got to understand. There's a lot of second chances in this world to go back to school. If you're wondering whether or not you want to stay at the end of a shovel hurting your back or want to get some new skills to take advantage of the jobs that are being created right here in this community, take a look here at the community college. There's help. That's what we're here to talk about. We want every citizen in this country to be able to get the skills necessary to fill the jobs of the 21st century. There are new jobs being created. We just want to make sure that people have got the skills necessary to fill those jobs. That's what we're talking about. In order to make sure jobs are here, stay at home, in order to make sure the country is on the leading edge of technological change, we have got to make sure people have the skills necessary to fill those jobs. And it doesn't matter whether you've been in the Army for 8 or Air Force for 4 and Army for 4, there's still a chance. And one of the things, there are people in every community that are wildly optimistic about things. Sammy is wildly optimistic about what she does. She is a, go ahead and tell me what you do.
Well, for a living,
yeah,
I work for the best bank in Arkansas, Heartland Community Bank.
Yeah.
I believe some of my coworkers might be out there.
Probably your boss after that.
Absolutely, he is.
Yeah.
But
all right, that's enough of that. No self-promotion.
The thing that is so wonderful about my bank is we are so community spirited, and the Arkansas Scholars Program is done by volunteers.
Nobody knows what it is.
Oh, let me just tell you.
Okay.
And you may have to do this.
Yeah.
Because I love to take the opportunity to tell people how wonderful it is.
Okay.
Have I got a deal for these young people in all America? And it's called the Arkansas Scholars Program. And my understanding that I just learned today that Texas and Arkansas and Tennessee and a few other states that have had this program are not going to be standing alone. I believe that your goal this year is Arkansas, or well, not Arkansas Scholars, but the Scholars Program is going nationwide this year.
Yeah.
This program.
Tell them what it is, will you?
Okay.
I'm waiting in bated breath to find out what it is.
Arkansas Scholars is a program that tells young people, hey, you need to be prepared for the future. Yeah. As I listen to these people right here on this stage, every one of them mention things that the Arkansas Scholar Program brings to young people. It lets them have a plan, a written plan, that lets them accomplish things that will make them successful. The criteria is something that almost every student can achieve. And here in Arkansas, as Emerald says, bam, bam, we've kicked it up a notch. We have added a 4th year of math. We want our students to recognize the fact that, as the business people right here and in college people have mentioned, that math is something that is critical to success. Yeah. And my parents, my dad was a military career man, and he told me that freedom is never free. You've got to work for it. And I believe that an Arkansas scholar who has to make a C or better, and we encourage better on their semester grades. They have to be enrolled in school and attend 95% of the time, from the first day of the 9th grade to the last day of the 12th grade. Folks, that's phenomenal. A business person hires someone to do a job because they need them there. So 95% attendance is something that business people and colleges, they're looking for those kind of people. They have to have 4 years of math here in Arkansas. They have to have 4 years of English. They have to have 3 years of science, lab-based. These are advanced classes. They have to have 3.5 units of social studies. And now 2 years of the same foreign language. As has been mentioned here, there are people coming into all of our communities that speak other languages rather than just English. We have got to be able to communicate with them. As our trade is taken worldwide, we have to be able to communicate with people in other countries. And the Arkansas Scholars Program is something that every student in Ouachita County that goes to a public school begins the first day of the 9th grade as that Arkansas Scholar. And what we tell these young people is, hey, you're in control of your future. Only you can make the decision to be successful. And we've got a plan that you don't have to figure out. It's written down for you. You do this for 4 years. You graduate as an Arkansas Scholar, and you will be assured of being successful. This program is something that, as it goes nationwide, we're going to see a difference in the quality of young people that we have to lead us into the future, into that 21st century. Across the world, Americans are still going to be those folks who are leaders. And I think we've got Arkansas Scholars back here. Would some of you stand up if you're an Arkansas Scholar, if you graduated high school? Look at these young people. These are the kind of people that you are going to be able to depend on, because they've learned how to work hard, study hard, and be successful.
Yeah, you're doing good, Sammy.
I told you you'd have to cut me off.
Well, I hadn't cut you off yet. You and my mother go to the same hair dye person.
Oh, President Bush, I'm a natural blonde.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just a natural
Couldn't help
blonde.
myself, sorry. You want to say something? Good job.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can follow anyone that dynamic, but Laura Buckwalter, who was just standing up, is a college student here, and she was an Arkansas Scholar. And if you had any doubt about the spirit and the stick-to-itiveness of these young people, I will tell you, when she found out you were coming, she started planting flowers for your arrival, and she worked all weekend long around the campus here. So she's a go-getter.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Tell her we got a little work for her in Crawford. Thank you very much. Listen up. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. I found it to be interesting. It's just an uplifting experience, isn't it, to come and hear people who are taking responsibility for the education in the community in which you live, and the business guy who wants to help people, the students who are motivated. It is exciting, and I want to thank you all for doing this. You did a great job, and the stories are compelling. You want to say something? Yeah, okay. Here I am in my peroration. That's kind of the emotional part before the conclusion. Anyway, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that with everybody here, that education is the great equalizer in life. And I came from parents with no education and put 5 kids through college and 4 through postgraduate school, and it's the great equalizer, and it's the best thing a parent can give to children is the gift of learning, and it just changes everybody's life around. And that math and science foundation
Right.
that you have,
Right.
we're ready to sign up, and we'll be matching something.
Thank
and
you,
I'm
sir.
sure we have a lot out here that will as well.
Thank you very much. You know, I want to follow what Bob said. He said it's a great gift from a parent is 2 things. 1, a good education, and unconditional love. Unconditional love. God bless you all for letting us come by. Thanks. Great to be in El Dorado, Arkansas.